One of the more difficult parts of formatting your master's thesis is getting the page numbers right. The Pitt State Thesis Manual gives us very specific guidelines for what the page numbers should look like in different parts of the thesis. From the manual, the preliminary pages should be numbered with lowercase Roman numerals, centered between the margins 1 inch from the bottom of the page. The title page and approval pages are assigned page numbers but are not printed on the page. Regular Arabic page numbering begins with Chapter 1, the preface, or with the first page of the text, and continues throughout the study appendices and bibliography. Arabic page numbers can be at the top right corner, top center, or bottom center, but must be consistent throughout the thesis and should lie within the margin requirements. In other words, it's helpful to think of the document that contains your thesis as having 3 separate sections. The first section comprises of only the title page and the approval page and has no page numbering at all, although it is counted in page numbering. The second section of the thesis should be everything after your approval page, but before the thesis itself begins. So acknowledgments, abstract, table of contents. The next section is the part that I think most of us probably think of as being the thesis itself, the thing that starts on chapter 1, or alternatively with a preface or some other kind of text, the beginning of the thesis itself, though. So those are the 3 sections. So we have to tell Microsoft Word, this is a document with multiple sections, and each section needs a different kind of condition of numbering for the pages. To do that, we need to insert section breaks. We'll insert our first section break at the bottom of the approval page. And that's this one. To do that, we go to Page Layout, and within the Page Setup group, we're going to open the Breaks menu and tell it to insert a section break next page. Because I have this little button pressed, the Show Hide button, I can see it show up on my screen. That's a helpful thing to know that I talk about in a different video. Now we have a section 1 and a section 2. But right now, Microsoft Word wants to still treat them the same. And you can tell that because it says same as previous here right below the header. We don't want that because we want the heading or the numbering to be different in this second section than in the first section. So we're going to click here in the navigation group, link to previous, to unlink those things. We want also to do that in the footer because that's where our page numbers are going to happen in this section. Now we're ready to format our page numbers. So we'll, in the header and footer group, we'll click page number, and the first thing we want to do is not insert the page numbers, but format them. We're basically telling Microsoft Word, if we were adding page numbers, this is what we would like them to look like. In this case, we want them to look like lowercase Roman numerals, and we want to be sure that we are starting at 3, because remember, your title page and your approval page don't get page numbers printed on them, but they are pages 1 and 2 of the document. Okay, now we want to insert at the bottom of the page, and we want plain number 2, the centered one. What we have now is exactly the page numbering we want for this section. When we scroll up and look at the approval page and the title page's footer, we see no page numbers. Excellent, we're on the right track. But let's keep scrolling down. Here's the first page of the thesis proper, the actual contents of the thesis. Notice it's still got that Roman numeral, and that's not what we want here. We need another section break. So let's close our header and footer, and let's go to where we want this new section break to happen. Same process as before, page layout tab, breaks, next page. Open that header up and we see that same link to previous. This is Microsoft Word trying very hard to help, but it isn't very helpful. So we're going to tell it no, don't link to previous. We're going to do exactly the same thing in the footer because we don't want this lowercase foolishness happening here. Now we have our lowercase Roman numeral footer on our table of contents page, just like we want it, and we have no header at all, and no footer at all. Have to remove it. But we want a header. This time, we don't want lowercase Roman numerals. We want Arabic numbers, and we want to start at 1. So we're going to tell Word that, and then we're going to go in, we're going to insert page numbers. Let's do top right hand corner because I'm an MLA person and that's where I feel comfortable. And now we have page numbers. So let's just double check ourselves. We have no header, no footer for that first section. The second section, the front matter of the thesis, we have lowercase Roman numerals. And then the first page of the thesis itself, we have Arabic numeral top right corner. And this goes right on through to the very end of the thesis. And we have done it. Again, this is not an instinctive or intuitive process. And so if you need any help making this happen, please come and see us in the Writing Center, join us for the Graduate Writing Studio, or make an appointment. We can be reached by email, again, at writingcenter@pittstate.edu, and we'd love to help you.